Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Hello and welcome to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Max 6 Entrepreneurial Center right here in Tempe, Arizona, where we help build businesses and connect you with the right people. These folks have been around for a while. I'm looking forward to having a conversation today with Lou and Andy Hobaka. They are the founders of One Bag at a Time, in addition to Hobaka Services. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Hobaka.
Thank you. You got it.
Sorry, I knew after I said it the second time
That's
that I was
all right.
not pronouncing it correctly.
By the end of the podcast, you'll be saying
I'm going to attempt to use it several more times. Hobaka.
The key is remember Leica. It's Hobaka.
I love it. Very good. Well, thank you. And I apologize for botching it 60 seconds in or less. All right. So let's have you both introduce yourselves and take some time. We've got plenty of time on this in this conversation today. I'd love to hear about, your family business and who you are and the role that you play. And then we'll just see where it goes. I'm looking to
let's start off with
senior
Lou.
here first.
100%.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Karen. Yeah. So Lou Hobaka started with my father back in the early 1900s. His parents were Lebanese immigrants and had two daughters. And in Lebanon, it was kind of like today. It wasn't a great place to raise your family. So my grandfather picked up his cell phone and sent his brother, who had a dry goods store in Phoenix, Arizona. I don't think it really happened that way in like 1917, but by mail, which would be probably 4, 6, 8 weeks to get a letter. Had a dry goods store here and said, hey, brother, why don't you come to Phoenix, Arizona, United States, land of opportunity, and raise your family here. So it was a 3-year journey, car, boat, train, foot, car, boat, train, foot. And my father was actually born in Cuba on their way over. So now they had 3 kids, made it over here. And my father grew up in Phoenix, went to St. Mary's grade school, high school. And then, something happened in 1939 called World War II. So every able-bodied man and woman was deemed to fight for our country. And most of them weren't citizens at that time because these were mainly immigrants. My father was fluent in both Spanish and English and Lebanese, so 3 languages because his parents were Lebanese. And drafted to the Army, served his term, and under the GI Bill, had an education grant. Went to Phoenix College. He was really handy, construction, electrical, plumbing, just a very handy guy in the Army where he served. He was a radio operator, so very technical and liked to work with his hands, could fix just about anything. So he goes to the counselor at Phoenix College and he says, you know what, I'd like to be an electrician. I want to have my own electrical business. And the counselor said, I'm sorry, Paul, but the school's full. We don't have any room, but we have a new and upcoming industry trade. I think that may fit you well because it's electrical, it's plumbing, it's mechanical, all of what you have, and you could have your own business. It's called refrigeration. So this is before air conditioning in 1945-ish, and just refrigeration, for food products, grocery, dairy farms, things like that, meat, poultry. So he opened. He went and graduated, got his refrigeration degree and business degree, and then worked for a few small companies. And in 1952, he opened Hobaka's Refrigeration, had 7 kids. And basically, if we weren't in school, we were working. We didn't have, the privilege of having time off and fun time, evenings, weekends, holidays, summers, we were working. So that's just the way we grew up. Fast forward 7 kids. We all grew up in the business. My brother Paul and I bought the business in 1989. My father retired. At that time, it was a small company of 8 people, and Paul and I were 2 of them. But we were both college graduates. My brother Paul, an engineer, and myself, a business major in finance and accounting and management. So our goal was to grow the business and just own a larger share of the Phoenix metro market and grow our services. So we quickly started to grow personnel as well as services. So we added trades: plumbing, drain, sewer, electrical, wine rooms and other specialty wine cellars. So a lot of different things just in owning the home was our whole goal, and mainly a residentially focused business. So 90% of all of our business is residential and maybe 10% would be light commercial. But I think the major thing that, we took from our father was, we're real humans, we're people, and we hire and train and coach on likability. So we never look for anybody with any experience or skill set. we actually don't want anybody with any field experience or skill set. We would rather bring somebody in that has dreams and aspirations for a better future, family, kids, home, car, what they want in their future. And then our business is the place to be able to earn the income to achieve those dreams and aspirations. So we're a family, organization, and we just hire for the personality, skill set of likability. When you like somebody, you trust them, and you just like being around them. They market themselves well, they're sincere, and kind of like somebody, if your grandmother needed some service and she lived alone, that you would trust in your grandmother's home without anyone else being there, because they'd be honest and ethical, doing the right thing. So that's what we hire for, and then we teach skills. We teach for the skill set. It's hard to train and teach people personality skills, because whatever they have, by the time they're, in their early 20s, I'm sorry, if they're screwed up, it's because their upbringing, their parents screwed them up. So if their parents brought them up right, and they market themselves well, they're likable, they're trustworthy, they're honest, they're ethical, they have integrity, they're sincere. That's what we look for. It's easy to teach the skill set, but not the likability. So Andy grew up in the business. I have 3 sons, and pretty much the same way I did. If Andy wasn't in school, he was working. So he started in the field and pretty much did everything, whether it was HVAC, different trades, installation. Then he moved into service. Then he moved into sales, and Andy's been in sales for probably the last 10 or 12 years, just doing phenomenally well. And Andy now has 2 kids, but I'll turn it over to Andy, and he can, wrap up with the Hobica Services story.
Yeah. So Hobica Services, it was always one of those things, growing up in my family. I think everybody, my other brothers and cousins and family, they all worked at Hobica, but only so many of them lasted, because, not a lot of people want to go through a 160-degree attic in the middle of summer running ductwork and insulation. But my motivation mainly at that young of an age was, I remember back in the day watching like a Gone in 60 Seconds movie or Fast and the Furious, and my dad saying, "Hey, Ange, you like those cars?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Which one do you like the most? Which one do you want when you're 16, when you're able to drive?" And I said, "I want that one." He goes, "Great. Well, we better start working, because I'm not helping." So it was the motivation of like nice things. Like, you want to have extra things. You want to do these things. And I knew when I was 16, I wanted to have a car like a lot of my friends did, or, at that age. And I was like, I better start working. So you really learn at a young age, when your father tells you, you're going to work really hard and you're going to appreciate it so much more. And it happens. Your friends put a fingerprint on that car, they're washing that vehicle, because it is everything to you. And you instill that in your growth, and it just makes you a better person. So that's how my dad brought us up in the right way. And I'm very fortunate for that. But yeah, I've been working for my dad since I was about maybe 11 or 12, and worked all the way up in everything, like he said. And I found myself in the comfort expert position, sales, because
what does that mean?
I love talking to people.
Yeah.
So it's mostly, a lot of people say, "Andy, you're in sales." And it's like, well, technically I'm in a sales position, but not, actually, I'm really good at building relationships. I love building relationships. Some people can go over to a home or have someone come into a car dealership and they're going to sell something. I would much rather just create a relationship, because at the end of creating that relationship, if that person actually trusts me and I've created that friendship, they'll pretty much buy anything that I have, because now they built that relationship. They know I'm out there for their best interest.
Yeah. So that wraps back up to the whole likability, because when you sell yourself and people like you, people actually buy you first. And then if you have a solution to a problem that they may have at that time, then you can offer solutions. So they actually buy the individual before they buy a product or service. So likability, and that's what Andy has. He has likability. But wrapping up back to when he was a kid and he wanted to buy the car and you need to work for it, Dad's not going to help you. But him and his brothers also asked the question. He says, "Well, I don't quite understand. All my friends, their parents buy everything for
Listen,
them.
I've got a
Their car,
15-year-old. I get
everything." And I said, "You know what, guys?" I said, "That's not the way we do it."
Yeah.
I said, "You don't understand really the lesson you're going to learn. But you know what? When you're an adult, you'll thank me."
And as well, my dad would always bring us up and say, "Well, that's the way they do things. You're a Hobica. This is our name, and this is how we do things." And it just made me very proud to be a Hobica and be, oh my God, my dad is a badass, pretty much, just because he's making us do these things. And now as an adult, you look back and you're like, holy crap, it was all worth it. The reason I'm successful, the reason I'm so good with people, the reason I'm so good at everything in life is all because of our upbringing. My mom and dad are amazing. So it's
He
good.
gave you space to figure that out early on
Yeah.
and
He
modeled
did.
it for you.
So
Yeah.
one other real interesting thing about 2000, as our business was growing, we wanted to brand our company a little bit more strategically. So I paid a ex-radio announcer to write a jingle for us. And he wrote like 6 jingles, and the one that stuck is "You Like a Hobica." I can sing it at some point. Maybe at the end we'll close it out. But
Okay,
anyways,
let's
so
not forget
"You
that.
Like a Hobica" have a jingle. We've been on the radio for years, off and on. But Andy was in probably freshman year high school. His brother was maybe a sophomore, junior, and this radio jingle came out, "You Like a Hobica." They hated me for it. Everybody
they
made
did.
fun of all my kids. "You like a Hobica?"
He still doesn't like it. I just
Yeah.
got
No,
the
no,
side
But
eye.
you know
I like
what?
it now.
You know what? They said, Dad, this is ridiculous. Everyone's making fun of me. This is stupid. I don't like it. And I said,
It's tough.
trust me, when you're an adult, you'll love me for it. So now they become adult and they're outside and this is, geez, everybody knows our
Yep.
name.
Yeah,
Everybody knows who we are. Everyone knows "You Like a
Yeah.
Hobica." He says, I'm so glad you did that.
I remember sophomore year, my dad would always like, hey, you're a Hobica. If you go for it, you can get anything, kind of thing. So sophomore year, I'd make varsity football. I'm like, this is amazing. Varsity football coach looks at me, and I'm probably talking because real ADD, and he looks at me, he goes, "Hobica, you talking over there?" I'm like, like I didn't want to say yes, and he goes, "Oh yeah, it's "You Like a Hobica. Now go take a lap." Everyone always made fun of the "You Like a Hobica," and I'm like, "Dad, this sucks. This is horrible." But as he said,
Memorable.
it sticks.
It
Yeah.
sticks.
And
Very
now, as an adult, I don't care if I go to a networking meeting, I go
I
somewhere.
know.
If I say "You Like a Hobica," I'll be like, "Hey, it's that jingle. Yeah, I know your family." So it's very well known in Phoenix.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause on the storyline because I need to ask about these little pins on your shirts there. What does 100% mean? I know
Yeah,
what the
so-
American flag means, at
Yeah.
least to me. So tell me about both.
Yeah. So I'll start with the 100%. So basically, our philosophy in life, my philosophy in life that I've brought Andy up is, as well as our entire company, because I bring my life lessons to my company, and our culture is, every day it's just an amazing day. We're just lucky to be alive and have that day available. So every day is worthy of giving 100% of yourself. It's not like you need to save half of yourself or part of yourself for another day. That's not the way it works. You're not going to use your entire self up. Any individual can give 100% of themselves every day to everything. And the next day, wake up and give another 100%. It's not like you'll wear out. You can always give 100. No day is worthy of less than 100. So 100%, it's a reminder. You get up in the morning, you put it on your lapel, and while you're putting it on every day, you remind yourself, you know what? Today I'm going to give 100% at everything that I do. And then we have a program within our company where we recognize team members that have gone above and beyond and given 100%, whether it's with another team member or it's a customer or just some individual that they helped on the side of the road or someone in need. Did a good deed, and they're recognized by another team member. So they are now part of the Hobica 100% Club.
We'll bring it up in our meetings, and he'll be like, "Well, it's time to give it." And he'll pull names out, and he'll be like, "I have a story about Trevor." And he'll bring Trevor up and say, "Trevor did this, this, and this, and he deserves 100%." And then people are looking like, "Hey, I want one of those damn pins." Just
Yes.
going above and beyond and doing those extra things.
Yeah,
So
so they'll collect them. They'll end up with 5 or 10 or 15 pins throughout the year, and they're just proud of them. And then we have a contest at the end of the year where we have a drawing of about 100 different gifts that I'll buy anywhere from $25 to $500, and basically, you get to choose a gift for free and walk out with all these gifts. So it's a lot of fun. It's reward, but it's recognition, and it's publicly recognizing others for good things and accomplishments. And that's what we're all about, just building our culture on, doing good deeds, building positive, memorable experiences.
Yeah.
And, that's a little bit about the 100% pin.
And before you talk about the flag, because we love our flag, and same thing that he said, it's literally looking at the mirror. We do the same thing. You wake up, you put the pin on your shirt, and I'll literally look at myself in the mirror every morning. You can ask my wife; she calls me crazy. If I'm not willing to go 100% today, I might as well take the pin off and stay home. So you're either going to go 100% or go nothing, because that's what we believe in.
So good.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time for either of you that you thought that maybe the family business wasn't for you? Maybe for you when you were younger?
Yeah. So graduate from thinking like high school and going to college and what do you want to do for a career?
Yeah.
And it is tough working out in the environment, in attics, on roofs. It is hard work. The trades, whether it's plumbing, drain, sewer, electrical, HVAC, it is hard work. You're working in really tough environments. So I grew up in that and learned a very challenging work ethic and hard work. However, so I'm in college and I'm thinking, you know what, I think I'd like to be an attorney, right? So I wanted to go into law. So I go to college and I'm leaning towards the law direction. And it was late my junior year in college. And I was on jury duty. So I got called for jury duty. And I was on a jury trial for 2 weeks. And so I'm maybe, 20, 21 years old. I'm on 2 weeks. And it was an individual that worked in a cotton gin facility here. He was young, maybe in his 20s, married, had a couple kids, and he got his arm cut off to the shoulder. The whole arm was taken off. So he was suing the manufacturer, right? And the only reason his arm got cut off is because he bypassed the safeties, all the safeties that the manufacturer had put in place. So I'm on a jury with, 11 other individuals. There's 12 of us, and there's 11 that want to award him his case and charge it against the manufacturer. I'm saying, wait a minute. No. He says, no, it is not a manufacturer issue here. This is a personal responsibility and personal choice. He chose to bypass all the safeties, to stick a broomstick in there to be able to, delodge why it's clogged up, and he got sucked into it and his arm got cut off. So I feel sorry for the guy.
Not denying it's tragic.
Yeah. So that was a transition. So I was able to convince the other 11 jurors that, you know what, black and white, take emotions out of this. I know we feel sorry for him and his wife and the little kids, but it's not a manufacturer issue, right? So he'd have to go a different route. You can't put charges against the manufacturer and award him this case. So that was a turning point in my life. I sat on that case for 2 weeks and watched the attorneys, and I said, you know what? I don't want to sit behind a desk in a jury room for this amount of time, just wasting unnecessary time. I said, I really like to be active and physical and working with my hands and my mind. And, Andy's got me on the hyper mode. He's a lot more energy, but I have more miles on me. However, I needed to be out doing things, whether it was working. I like fixing things, whether it's a system, a process, coaching individuals, leading them, or it could be anything mechanical. So I like hands-on, whether it's people interaction or equipment. That's me. So that was the turning point. Say, you know what? Law isn't for me. I'm going to go into, and I'm going to, buy my father's business with my older brother, Paul, who was 7 years older than I, had an engineering degree. So that was the route I went.
Sounds like a great partnership too, going into it.
Very good partnership.
Talking about energy and bringing out the hyperness. It's funny because my dad does have, I guess he had some ADD when he was younger, and he gets in his comfortable zone and you can see it come out, but he is all business and he stays confident, and he's more, I guess you would say, what's the word I'm looking for? Precise with his decisions than I am. But that's why it's, so good having a father figure and a mentor like him. But when we do get together and we're hanging out, it's an unstoppable team, him and I. So
no kidding. And how about for you? Was there ever a time maybe when the jingle came out, you were like, I'm finding something else? I don't know.
Not so much. Yeah. It was in my 20s. So working full time as a technician. Let's just say it was worth it. And I know why he did it. We talked about him being hard on me and growing up, and now I'm an amazing human being for it. But it was really hard working for him because he was so stern. We'd have a group of people, like 3 or 4 technicians, doing something wrong. I saw it happening, but I'm a technician. I'm not a supervisor. I'm going to let it happen. And then he'd find out, everyone gets written up, and then he'd sit me down and say, why'd you let this happen? Like, you saw everyone misbehaving. Why didn't you tell me about it? I said, I didn't want to be a rat. I didn't want to do this. Didn't want to do these things. It's unacceptable. You do that again and you're not going to work here anymore, kind of attitude. And I was like, why am I getting picked on? Well, he put me on a higher level to obviously create the human being I am today. So I didn't appreciate it at the time and would always come home. I'm like, this sucks. My dad's just picking on me. And he was picking on me, but for a good reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier that I have a 15-year-old. I have a 28 and 26-year-old as well, and they're in the valley on their own. My 15-year-old, it's just he and I. And as a solo parent, I get to play both roles. And so sometimes he gets to the point where he's like, Mom, you're so strict. Or as you said earlier, so-and-so gets to do this. I'm like, you're not so-and-so. I'm only responsible for you. So you can continue to compare yourself, or you can show up and follow what we're doing as a family and know that there's the benefits that's going to benefit you down the road.
And to go in on that, sorry to say, but when I was younger, high school, maybe after high school, the people I was hanging out with that got to do whatever they wanted, I'm sorry to say, I'm not going to say any names, but they may not be doing so good in life right now.
Right.
So the reason I am the way I am is because of my father. And you can ask my wife. We'll go on double dates all the time we go out. All my friends are like 20 years older than me. People my age didn't get the upbringing I got, so I have to hang out with more mature people. That's how it
love
works.
it.
Yeah.
My kiddo just got a job at Chick-fil-A, his first job at
Oh, great,
15
great
and a half.
place, great
And
environment.
before he did, I made him create a resume on Canva,
Yeah.
write a cover letter. He's like, "You've got to be kidding me. Nobody's going to want this." I'm like, "Well, we're getting in the car, pick the places. We're going to 20 of them."
Sure.
Beautiful. Good mom.
And yeah. And at the end of the first day, we had 15 passed out. By the time we got home, Chick-fil-A and Dairy Queen had called for an interview.
Beautiful.
He was hired in his first interview. I'm like,
Wow.
see, buddy, this is how it works. You stand up and you stand out, and then the world is ready to receive you.
But that day is going to stick with him 20 years from now and be like, yeah, my mom made me go out and pass out these 15 things. I hated it. But
He
you know
did.
what? This is the reason.
He got back in that car and whined and complained after the third one. I said, here is what you have to choose. You can choose to have me drive you around to these locations and pass out resumes, or you can walk or ride your bike and do it. If we're going to do it in the car, you're going to do it without complaining, or you can do it completely on your own, and you are doing it.
I love
So
it.
yeah,
I love it.
Big
I
learning
get
lesson.
I get being a loving parent, and also really having modeling the values and insisting that our kids show up in that way. So
yeah, that's kind of like the parent thing when the father hanging out with their sons or daughters, and you want to be friends and buddies. And I would always tell my boys, I said, you know what, at this stage in your life, before you're an adult, we're not friends and buddies. I'm your dad.
Yep.
Bottom line, I'm your dad. I said, once you're on your own and you're off of the bank of dad and you're leading your own life, then we can be buddies.
yes.
And
Same.
more on that. Me and my dad are very close now, so I'm comfortable saying this, but insecure growing up, and I got picked on a lot. I wasn't found on my father, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
At that age, I
Yeah.
was always picked on. I got grounded a lot. I was in trouble a lot. I was the black sheep of the family. Black sheep of the family is what it is. but as well, I felt like my father maybe didn't care for me as much just because he was so hard on me. But now we're best friends.
Yeah.
And out of both my brothers, my other two brothers, I think we're the closest now.
I love it.
So this is very beneficial.
Did you say you're on the top of the will? You're number one in the will?
That's what I heard,
Oh,
Lou.
okay, gotcha.
Is that yeah? You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure that sticks.
Thank you.
What else? So let's round out the conversation around the company. I when I was reading your company description, I smiled because it was all the trades: heating, cooling, plumbing, sewer, drain, electrical, and then wine. And I thought, well,
yeah.
we've got to talk about how did that come out?
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'll go into it, and then he'll go into specialty. So
You
why
guys have done this a
Yeah.
time or two before, haven't you? Like I could
Yeah.
just
Not
I can go
together.
have you haven't.
we've never done a podcast
not
together. No.
Yay!
individually.
I feel so
First one
honored.
together.
First one.
I feel so honored.
Yeah.
And you're so good at it. I literally could go and have coffee and Daryl can
Oh.
whistle me back
Yeah,
when you're
why not?
done.
Yeah, he'll take a break.
So wine.
So wine, we really wanted to open up, and actually his one of his younger brothers, Mike Hobaika, actually leads in that division. But he's very smart. He's an engineer. He gets to look at it more of a let's build the room, and then the wine second. Let's make it comfortable. So a lot of people on a smaller spectrum will take, in PV. I have a pantry. I have a closet. I'm going to turn it into a wine cellar. That's where we come in and be able to, at the end of the day, people that own wine cellars, what else do they own? Probably like 15 air conditioners.
Yes.
So it gets us in the door, but it's that specialty thing that most HVAC companies do not offer.
Really is smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we love them, and we have a lot of family members with them. We actually just finished one at my brother's house up on Camelback Mountain. So it's very special, and we love them. But I'll let Lou talk about the technical of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
so
story.
the whole wine thing came because I grew up in the refrigeration industry. So it was all refrigerated product, and we would do wine rooms for restaurants and homeowners, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. So I got really good at the refrigeration aspect. So air conditioning, you have temperatures go like this from top to bottom. You have air conditioning, then you have high temp, then you have medium temp, then you have low temp, then you have ultra low temp. So wine is high temp. It's not air conditioning, it's below that. So we're talking about 55 degrees at a 50% relative humidity is where you want to keep most reds. That's the good storage temperature and for preservation. So we got really good at building wine rooms in the late 90s and early 2000. We said, you know what, we're going to blow this up and really offer wine rooms because more and more homeowners were wanting their own wine room, wine cellar in their home. So like Andy said, it's our perfect avatar for the customer that we want to acquire because we own the home with all the major services. A wine connoisseur, somebody that has a wine room, we're not talking a little hobby here.
Right.
This is a huge expense. The wine room could
Thousands of bottles.
could be $100,000 to $500,000 just for the room, and then their inventory can be anywhere from $10,000 to a couple $100,000 in just wine.
I have
It's
customers
serious.
that say, look at this bottle. don't touch that row, like a 5. They're 20 grand a piece. I'm like, for a wine bottle. But
Yeah,
this
for
is some of these
drinking the
people.
wine.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's our
Wow.
perfect avatar for the perfect customer because they have lots of homes, lots of HVAC, lots of plumbing, lots of electrical needs. They have electric vehicles. They need EV chargers. So we take care of all that. And then all of their friends have the
Yes.
same likes.
Yes.
So the referral, you own the home, you own everything they do. And then they refer you to everybody. And people just like to work with somebody that they like and they trust.
They walk into a home for one of these, wine parties. You should check out my new wine cellar that Hobica Services just created for me.
Yep.
Holy crap. I got to get them over to my house. It's
Yep.
amazing.
And like wine walls are the big deal these days.
Yes.
So instead of like a cellar or a room, Andy mentioned a number of areas because we don't have a lot of basements here per se, cellars.
Right.
So it could be a spare room, a pantry,
Or a
under a
wall.
staircase. But wine walls have become very
Yeah.
popular.
See-through
So
ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
Room to room. So you have a wall
Yeah.
that ends
Oh, I've
that
seen 'em.
doorway
Yeah.
and you can see all the
fall
way through.
glass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
very nice.
So again, I'm just smiling because the untrained eye was like, wine room, that's just so obscure.
Yes.
So am I
Makes
hearing
com-
that you need a wine room
I don't
in
drink. I
your
stopped a year
home?
ago. Stopped drinking a year. Not that it was a problem, but I just decided life for me.
Gotcha.
So it's
personally
actually
would be
really
better
funny.
without it.
You'll go to some neighborhoods. I'm not saying that some
Amazing.
neighborhoods aren't as nice as others, but you'll go out to a neighborhood that's not. Maybe you look at the neighborhood. Oh, they can't afford wine rooms. Well, some people like wine. So we'll build a wine room and they maybe hold 1,000 bottles of wine on their racks. And they only have a couple hundred that they actually drink because some of our customers have admitted openly, like I say their names, that it's just for show because the whole bottom racks, it's just colored water inside the wine bottle. But it looks cool. It looks cool.
And you can give that tip when you're
It's kind of like
you're
when someone
installing.
rents a Ferrari.
Yes. So brilliant how it all ties together. It makes complete sense. Congratulations. And how long have you been doing the wine rooms? It's been a
Wine
while.
rooms, I'd say we onboarded and went full out with an independent service about year 2000. So
Yeah.
about 23
Incredible.
years.
Real popular in the last like 10 years.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's round out the conversation around your services. Are you looking for teammates right now? I would imagine, especially in the trades,
Yeah. So
we need more great
yeah,
trade workers,
we do.
don't we?
We do. And again, we don't hire for
I hear
skill,
ya.
right? So we just hire for personality and likability.
Yep.
So we are always hiring. We have a hiring event the third Thursday of every month at 6:30 p.m.
At our
So
location.
every month, all the time. So we're always hiring. It's not like we get busy, we hire because you can't find anybody when we're busy or we're getting into season because everybody else needs individuals.
Yeah.
So that's not when we
So you're
hire
just
per se. We're
constantly-
always hiring, looking for good people to add
Mhm.
for our team.
Yeah.
And say we found Karen, and you know what? Maybe we didn't have a place for her, but Karen's going to be an excellent add to our team.
Mhm.
We're going to find a place for Karen.
Gosh, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we will.
And the website for the business
That
is
is hobica.com.
HOBAICA.com.
HOBAICA.com.
So good.
Hobica.com.
Wow. Okay. Helping the homeless one bag at a time. Tell me a little bit about the way in which you're
Yeah.
serving our community beyond the great work you do with your
So
company.
I'll start with the whole building of this and letting Andy get into the one bag at a time. So my upbringing was always, my father, was always blessed, had a large family, and he always attributed it to the good Lord has blessed me. And since I am blessed, my role in life is to bless other individuals. So that's what we do today. We believe in blessing others. So I always grew up with helping those in need, whether it was food, housing, or maybe business or just life, just to be able to help them along in life, some obstacles or challenges that they're having in life and helping them through with what we were blessed with. So that's the way I grew up, always giving back. We did a lot of air conditioning, refrigeration services for free, helping individuals when they needed. And that's the way Andy, was brought up as well, always serving and helping those in need. So I'll let Andy pick it up with where the one bag at a time, came up with.
Mhm.
So growing up, my parents always said, you see someone in need, help them. So a lot of people will say like, I'll skip forward a little bit. Andy, why are you helping that person? They're probably taking advantage of the system. They could be parked around the corner. Yeah, you're right, possibly, but it's not my area to judge. It's my area to help. Whatever you give them $5, you're helping someone. Whether you're helping them buy alcohol, drugs, or something good, you helped them. They chose to do what they want to do. So help or just don't help. So growing up, we'd go to church on Sundays, Catholic family. And then after church, a lot of the times we'd go to like soup kitchens and help out and feed the homeless and stuff like that. So it was real fun as a young child. And I actually really enjoyed it. And a lot of my brothers or friends would be like, oh, we got to do that again. I loved it because I'd stand in line when you pass the food over to their plate. I'd start talking to them like, Andy, you're back. And I'd a great relationship with these people. And a lot of them have mental disabilities and they'd always see a smile when I would be in, part of my line. It was real fun. You get to, life, high school, sports, girls, weightlifting, all the fun stuff. And then you just lose track of it and you don't do it anymore. So it's just, you get busy and you have a lot of stuff going on, working on all my free time. I reached age about 23, 24, mid 20s, bought my first house, had a couple roommates paying my bills. My dad taught me that. And then me and my roommates would always be like, I wonder what we're going to do this weekend. I'm bored. If you're bored, you can find something to do. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go buy some stuff at the store, buy some bags, pack them and pass them out to the homeless. This will be fun. So we did it a couple times and then I would carry them around in my car, in my service vehicle, a Hobica, running between calls. Every time I would see someone begging for food, begging for, money, I would be like, hey, I don't have any money for you, but there's a ton of stuff in this bag. Sooner or later, man, they open up the bag, they look at you, some of them would start crying. Will you pray with me? Just, they're so happy. And just, that I was able to do such a small thing for them. It was so big. So that started on a small scale. Then I said, how are we going to blow this up? Let's start going downtown where the heart of homeless is. And we went to Tempe, Scottsdale, some different areas, but downtown Phoenix, right by Cass Homeless Shelter at 12th and Jefferson, huge homeless population. Even when I started doing this like 12, 13 years ago, real big. And we'd set up tables with tents and start passing out, basically it starts off with the first table would have like water, Gatorade. Then you have 5 or 6 different food items. We have toiletries, baby wipes, shampoo, conditioner, anything. So we don't, we take for granted these little things. What if you woke up this morning and you couldn't take a shower and brush your teeth because you don't have those items anymore? Couldn't take a shower. So, one of the most important things that people ask for is baby wipes. And we actually had those made in bulk, but a baby wipes is a shower in a box is what they call it. Because a lot of people don't get to take a shower at nighttime like we do. I take 2 showers a day, so very spoiled. But fast forward a little bit, in business, going into sales about 9 years ago, I'm part of an organization called BNI, Business Networking International. President Nate Dominguez, a friend of mine. My brother was big in BNI because my brother's also in sales, doesn't work for the company. But my brother Dan said, you need to join BNI. So I joined BNI, start creating relationships and, obviously get that likability out. And this individual, Ted Young, he's actually the vice president of One Bag at a Time right now, but walked up to me and said, hey, Andy, you get back to the homeless. You have these events, right? I want to go to one. So he started coming event after event after event, walked up to me one day at BNI and says, Andy, why aren't you a 501c3?
Yeah.
I said, dude, I've tried. And he goes, what do you mean you've tried? I said, I filled out the paperwork 5 or 6 times. I even had my dad help me out and I get denied every time. I don't understand why. And he said, yeah, it's a paperwork thing. So he's a financial advisor and my financial advisor. He also does some stuff for my dad, but he's really good with paperwork, really good at the little fine things and very smart individual, totally different aspect of mine. I'm good with people. He's good with paperwork, totally different person, but he did the paperwork and got me approved in 2 months. So he's the reason I'm a 501c3. Ted Young is amazing. Good friend of mine, was part of my wedding. On the back burner, Ted's the vice president, does a lot of the paperwork stuff, and then goes to all the events. But now that we're a 501c3, we're growing bigger and better. And then we'll be at our next stage here in probably about a year, maybe a year and a half. You have to actually be a nonprofit 501c3 for a matter of like 6 to 8 years. And then you can move up to the next step to where you can collect, tax donations and all that kind of stuff. So that's the next step to keep growing it. But as I started getting bigger, I'd say about, what do you think, Dad, about 7, 8 years ago when you and Mom got really involved?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so about 7, 8 years ago, it was real small. I'd have like 4 or 5 friends there.
Right.
Then I became a 501c3 and we started blowing it up. And my dad's like, yeah, I'll come down. Like, let's try this out. Like, he's a busy guy, but he started stepping away from, business roles a little bit, hiring more people. So he had to not work 80-hour weeks anymore. And he started coming with me to the events, my mom. And then ever since then, they come to every single event. So we plan it around our schedules because they're a part of it. And my dad really runs the events. So we go out, we set up the tables, and people start lining up to get the goods. My dad's job is to get on the megaphone and make sure everyone's ready. They get in line, they follow the rules, and then he walks up and down the streets to make sure that people get out of the tents that come down to our event. It's
Get
really
them
fun.
there.
Yeah.
What needs do you have then from our community? So for our viewers and our listeners who are interested in getting involved, how can we help?
Go for it.
Yeah, so follow us on Facebook. That's how we communicate and list all our events. So
Okay.
it's one bag at a time on Facebook, basically.
As well on
There's-
Instagram. Yeah.
And Instagram. There's a donate link there, and we have an event every month at 12th Avenue in Jefferson near the Cass Homeless Shelter. You have Cass, you have St. Mary's Food Bank, there's St. Vincent de Paul. There's a bunch of homeless facilities there.
Our next event is actually on June 24th. Starts at 8 a.m. We set up at 7:30. People say, what if I can't get there till 8:30? You might as well not come, because from 8 to 9, we'll serve anywhere between 200 and 500 people like that. It's a real quick event, but I'll guarantee anyone comes out, it'll change your entire month, and you'll feel better about yourself that you helped. And months that I'm too busy to have an event, I miss it.
Yeah.
I look forward to it every month.
Yeah.
Where's the supplies coming from?
Yeah. So basically, donations. We ask for donations of anything. You can 1 hour of your time, bring donations, whether it's toilet paper, whether it's non-perishables, it's personal care needs, it's clothing, it's sunscreen, it's chapstick, anything and everything in regards to that. So we look for donations from individuals or money.
As well, now onebagatatime.org. You go to the page, and I think right down in the front, you can click on the PayPal link right there.
Right. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So donations from individuals out of state, money, or companies, and then we will buy supplies. Andy will make a Costco run, usually, Friday, Saturday before the event, and get all of our necessary needs and non-perishables that we typically get. And we have a number of branded items. We have deodorant branded with one bag at a time.
Wipes, I heard.
We have our
Wipes,
bags, we
chapsticks.
have our wipes, we have chapstick, we have shampoo, we have lotion, conditioner. So a number of branded one bag at a time promo items that,
because we want to help out as many people as possible, right?
Right.
So if you go straight to the source, and you
Yep.
buy the products straight from where they come from,
Yes.
and you're able to buy 10,000 at a time, and you buy in bulk, you can help out that many more people. Because at the end of the day, when you walk into a Walgreens and you buy your chapstick for 99 cents, let me ask you as a person. So if you didn't know any better, how much do you think it cost that chapsticks to make?
Well, not much.
Probably like half a penny. So
Yes.
when you buy 10,000 of them and
Yeah.
you can get them for $1.50 a piece, or 80 cents a piece, I can help out that many more people.
Right. I love
Yeah.
that. And what have you seen that the impact has been in your journey with this nonprofit? What are you noticing? And there's clearly still a need.
It's gotten worse and
It's
worse over the years.
awful.
Yeah, I'm going to let my dad talk about it. He's very passionate about it, how it started with just homeless people, and then people coming out of Cass to join our events, to where it is today. It's out of control, but I'll let Dad talk about Tent City.
Yeah. Originally, it was a smaller homeless community. We'd still have anywhere from 200 to 400 individuals in a 1 hour time frame we were able to serve. They typically, the homeless would, sleep and live in the parks and underpasses and anywhere they could find a place to be able to spend the night and live. About 3 years ago, it was during the COVID, pandemic timeframe, an organization came down and gave out tents. So pretty soon, the whole 6-8 block district down there at 12th and Jefferson became like Tent City. It was a tent community, and it's gotten fairly ugly, murders, drugs, prostitution. It's gotten, very ugly. However, we still go down there, even though individuals say, hey, you know what, that's kind of a dangerous place to go. I don't deem it that way. We've never been bothered. We're there just to be able to give back and serve others. Everybody's always, very nice and appreciative. And it isn't our position to judge, an individual, people will say to us like, are you really making a difference? What good are you doing by giving somebody some non-perishables or personal care needs or clothing? They're just going to use it that day. They're probably going to throw it away. Are you really helping them? I said, well, it isn't our place to be able to judge that. At least we're making an impact for them at that moment, that day. Because if you go to the bathroom every day, like number 2 every day, right? What if you didn't have toilet paper
Right.
or a wet one? That's a big deal. If you don't clean up well, you got personal problems. I said, so the little things in life can be huge. And our place is just to be able to help those that are in need. And hopefully we can take them to a better place and just not judge them. We think the good Lord will be there to be able to lead them in the right direction. And if they're there with us when we're able to serve them, just being in the right place at the right time, sometimes that makes, the big differentiator.
That's my
And to
prayer
go
every
on-
morning.
To go on the little stuff that we take advantage of every day, right? People say, Andy, I want to come to your event this weekend. What should I bring? I always pause, look them in the eyes and say, well, if you woke up tomorrow and you were homeless, what would you like throughout the day that you normally wouldn't have? Now, remember, nothing at home that you own. You have a backpack that's on your back. What do you want in that backpack?
Yeah. Well,
mind
wipes.
blown. Everything.
Yeah.
Right?
I know. I want
Couple
wipes.
snacks, water. Like
Yep.
it gets pretty hard to
Yep.
where, you
Yeah.
can't just keep walking in 7-Elevens and ask them for a water cup.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible,
exactly.
incredible work. Did you guys attend the St. Vincent de Paul breakfast this year? Or
Yes,
have you
we
ever?
did. Yes.
Yeah, I was there as well.
Yeah,
and
I
the
go every year to
the
that.
statistics were mind blowing.
Yeah, huge.
And really,
So my grandfather actually was really involved in St. Vincent de
Yeah.
Paul. His father, the founder of Hobica. Yeah, he gave, he gave back so much to St. Vincent de Paul. You want to talk more about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My father grew up. He was heavy into St. Vincent de Paul and
Huge.
giving back to our community. But I think he spent a good 50 years, with the St. Vincent de Paul organization.
and I love too that several of the organizations that you've mentioned, people are not working in a silo anymore, which I think they were for a while. Some of our nonprofits, we all are trying to, not we all, but those of us who are trying to make a difference, let's say in the homeless community specifically, people were like, this is the way we're doing it. You do your thing over here. You do your thing over there. I'm seeing, especially with interviews that we've done here, it's not that way anymore. People are looking at how can we collaborate? How can we come together?
Would love it.
Yep. Absolutely. So I'm happy to hear that you
I've
guys
told
were
people,
there.
say, hey, we've actually went down there. I'm like, we should come on the same day. Why isn't this
Yes.
a humongous event?
Yeah, there's a couple. I know I mentioned John Murphy and Arcadia Foundation before we got on air. I want to make that introduction. And there are a couple of other organizations that are taking care of the female products for their periods for
Huge.
our homeless and our
Nice, yeah.
incarcerated. So it'd be another great introduction for you guys
Fantastic.
because of course those needs around feeling clean, feeling whole,
Right.
make that difference. I love the way you put it. That one moment of time, if we can help somebody in this very moment, then we're making a difference.
100%.
Yeah, it's interesting that I mentioned to you that Daryl is moving on from us, and he introduced me to our new studio producer who owns the Porch in Prescott. And he and his wife Rudy are phenomenal people, Jesse, and they shared a story about a woman who came into their coffee shop not too long ago. I think she might have been a wheelchair or a walker or whatever. Kind of head down. Jesse knows her. It was a Sunday morning. It's also a church entryway, and it was busy, but he went over and took a minute to say hello to her, welcome her, what can I get you? And she put her headset on, she started working, and you wouldn't even have noticed, he said, that all these other people were around her, that she was even paying attention. She became a regular after that. And then I don't know how long, maybe a couple of months, she said, I'm moving to Phoenix, but I want to thank you and Rudy for making me feel so welcome. And they exchanged phone numbers, and they read a text to me when I was up there interviewing Jesse to come and join our team. She had said that she was on the brink of suicide.
Wow.
And his loving care, his willingness to just make eye contact and walk over, even though he had an extraordinarily busy day and she looked like she wasn't interested in having a conversation with anybody, changed her life. So to your point, in that one moment, we have an opportunity. We always have an opportunity to get
100%.
outside of ourselves and just show up. And I had started to say earlier, my prayer every day is, use me. How can I
Right.
be used today? Let me get out of my own stuff
I
and
try,
just put people in
I
front
try
of
to
me.
preach that every day.
Yeah.
I'll tell people that I've created a couple of videos on social media. I post probably 2 to 3 videos a week, just trying to motivate people, try to just make people be better people. In a couple of weeks, I posted a video on exactly what you just said. I don't care if you're walking into a grocery store, into the gas station, into work, out of work. If you make eye contact with someone, smile and say, hey, I hope you have a great day. Or, hey, good morning. You look beautiful. I like your dress. Just say something. That little sentence could change that person's whole life. Maybe they're on the brink of suicide.
Right.
Maybe they just lost a loved one. Maybe they're having the worst day of their life, but you're having a great day. A simple smile and a hello is going to change that.
Doesn't cost a dime.
Yeah. So to add on to that, what most individuals, you go through life and you come across a lot of opportunities that you could bless or potentially bless somebody's life and make a difference. But most individuals, they'll look at them and they'll have an opportunity and they'll say, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So my recommendation to any individual listening is listen to, whether you want to call it the Holy Spirit or the voice within you, there's always somebody talking, and just listen to that voice. And if you follow that voice's instruction, I guarantee it won't lead you wrong. Quit trying to make sense out of it and make your own decision. Just listen to the voice. As long as it's good for you, for them, and everybody involved, it's something that you should listen to and follow. So I call it the Holy Spirit, but whatever you want to call it, just listen to that voice and you'll do good things. And being in the right place at the right time, you'll make big impacts that'll change people's lives.
Boom.
So that's the 5th time in this conversation. And I don't think I've ever had that thought more than once in how many episodes have I done? Over 300, 400. that I know that my son needs to listen to our conversation today. I've thought of it several times, and that's
Fabulous.
just, yeah. So I'm looking forward to having Ivan hunker down and listen to the wisdom.
Maybe your son has a future with us.
Maybe. I would like to see that. He wants to be an engineer. And yeah, I'm curious. I keep pushing kind of the trades and explore a little bit because we really need great workers.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
you can make some good money when people actually see what they can do.
Yeah.
So it's not you come and work your butt off and you don't get paid for it. It's a very highly paid industry if you actually can, produce, do these kind of things. Not an easy job, but we have several people, including myself, that maybe weren't meant for college that can make a good living, just obviously creating those relationships and making people happy.
Well, we'll talk. I love it. What have I not thought to ask about either Hobica or one bag at a time? Yeah. Anything else that you, as you were coming over today, that you thought, let's make sure we share?
I didn't
with
want
our
to skip
listeners?
over the ending of the 100% pin and the American flag.
Yeah.
So obviously we wear the American flag every day because we love our country.
Yes.
And if you work for us, you love our country. If you disagree, you can go live somewhere else. So at the end of the day, we support our troops. Me and my dad, we released a video a couple weeks ago on Instagram and Facebook about Red Shirt Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
So we wear red shirts on every Friday, and we tell all of our inside people in the office to wear red shirts just to support, because Red Shirt Friday is supporting the blood of people that we've lost across seas in our military. And we love our military and everything they've given for us. So that's why we wear red shirt on Fridays, and that's why we wear our American flag every day.
Freedom isn't free.
We give these out to all of our customers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, did you bring me one today?
I do. I have a couple in
Not
my
a
truck.
customer, but I'll take one.
We have lots of them.
Not a customer
I
yet.
have them in my backpack here.
Very good.
I'll give Daryl a few. Maybe Daryl will give you
if
one.
we've earned one, and Daryl has his red shirt on, so we're good.
Yeah, he does. So Daryl's qualified.
Yes. All right. So onebagatatime.org.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And hobica.com.
.com.
And both the company and the organization are on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. Hobica Services.
Hobica Services, one bag at a time on Facebook. Hobica_services on Instagram. One bag at a time AZ on Instagram. And then if people want to get motivated, I would think the number one place would be Andy Hobica on Instagram. I post these videos weekly, and I just love motivating people. I'll literally have random people message me and be like, hey, I know I don't know you, but I just watched your video yesterday and I needed that. Thank you so much. Random.
Love it.
Yeah, it makes my day.
I have so many introductions for you guys. My mind is just, all right, note to self. Let's clearly you guys are very well connected as well. However, I feel like there's some opportunity for us to make some introductions to continue to help you guys influence in the way that you are. So thank you again. And I'm so honored that it's the first time you two have done this together. Now you got a stick. You got to say to people, hey, it's a package deal.
Well, when people see this episode, I'm like, oh my God, you got to get that team.
That's right. You've been listening to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Max 6 Entrepreneur Center. Some media leans left, some lean right, and we lean business. Until next time, I'm Karen Nowicki. Thanks for listening.